How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the House of Horror, and the subject of today's video requires no introduction. We are obviously talking about the Halloween franchise. It's one of, if not the greatest slasher series of all time. And today we're going to be looking at some of the most interesting facts about these illustrious films that maybe some of the most hardcore fans don't know. And of course, there are hundreds upon thousands of facts about the Halloween franchise, so we can't cover them all here. So if you know of any facts that I may have missed out, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to do a follow-up video to this at some point in the future and get my pal Dynamite Jared in on the action. But as for right now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy Halloween 15 Phenomenal Facts. First off, did you know that it almost wasn't called Halloween? The original title was The Babysitter Murders, and that just doesn't have the same ring to it. Or in my opinion, any ring at all. If John Carpenter would have named the film that, I really doubt that we would still be talking about it today. I don't really think you could build an 11 film plus franchise with a title like The Babysitter Murders. Halloween though, now that's something we can get behind. The name is instantly recognizable and it's synonymous with the autumn season, and it's necessary viewing every year around this time. But weirdly enough, the film wasn't even shot in fall. Next up, did you know that the film was actually shot in California in the springtime? For a film that takes place in the Midwest during the fall, they couldn't have picked a more drastically different place and time to shoot. Well, okay, it's not like they shot it in Antarctica or on the moon or something, but you get what I'm trying to say. But shooting in Southern California in the middle of May doesn't really bring that crisp autumn vibe. So as such, the team had to bring in their own leaves and rake them up every day to store them so they could be used throughout the entire production. The only indication that the film was shot in California is that if you're really looking hard enough, you might be able to spot a palm tree or two, but I won't ruin the immersion for you here. Other than that, they pull it off flawlessly. And if I do say so myself, it's excellent. For number 13, we've got the ties to Wayne's World. Okay, so before Dana Carvey was a famous comedian and actor, he had a brief scene in Halloween 2. There he is, right there. Halloween 2 obviously features Michael Myers, and Dana Carvey went on to star in Wayne's World alongside who else? Mike Myers. Damn, this guy just can't get away from people named Michael Myers. So yeah, the Halloween franchise, strangely enough, has ties to Wayne's World. But it certainly isn't the only film that Halloween has ties to. For number 12, we're going to be talking about the connection to Psycho. John Carpenter was obviously influenced by some great films when he was making Halloween. We can see The Thing from Another World playing on the television, but the references to Psycho are a bit more subtle. Donald Pleasant's character Sam Loomis shares the same name as a character in Psycho. And of course, the leading lady from that film was Janet Leigh. And coincidentally, her daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis, is the star of Halloween. And if we even dig a little bit deeper, Janet Leigh herself came back for a cameo in Halloween H2O, where she even drives the same car that she drove in Psycho, with similar music playing in the background. So yeah, the ties to Psycho run pretty deep. And speaking of running, let's talk about this random guy that got run over. For number 11, let's chat about Ben Tramer. In a few throwaway lines in the original film, we learn that Laurie Strode has a crush on a guy named Ben Tramer. While we don't see him in the first installment, it's been said that the guy in Halloween 2 who was plowed down by a police car in the middle of the street wearing a full Michael Myers outfit was Ben Tramer. So yeah, I guess Ben will never get the chance to take Laurie to the dance. Of course, Laurie herself is the star of the first two films, but did you know that Jamie Lee Curtis is actually in Halloween 3? For number 10, that's right, Jamie Lee is in Halloween 3. One of the biggest complaints about Halloween 3 is that Michael Myers isn't in it. Well, not only is he in it, see, he's right there on the TV. But Jamie Lee Curtis herself also makes an appearance. Well, her voice does, as her voice is used as a phone operator in the film. So yes, Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis are both in the film, so stop giving it such a hard rap for that. You can give it a hard time for a plethora of other things, but certainly not that. Okay, you definitely still can if you want, I'm just kidding. But speaking of phone cameos, up next, did you know that John Carpenter has a voiceover cameo too? Damn, he was the creator, writer, director, composer, and now voice actor? Is there anything that Johnny Carp can't do? Okay, I don't think he actually does carpentry, but that's right, John Carpenter is the voice of Annie's boyfriend, who we can hear over the phone in the original film. He also allegedly adorned the infamous Michael Myers getup at some point during the film for a few shots, but it isn't 100% confirmed. Either way, this is 100% his voice. But let's talk about the man most known as playing the Shape, Nick Castle. We're midway through our list, and did you know that Nick Castle is actually a director too? Most people only know the name Nick Castle from his portrayal of Michael Myers in the original film, but you may not know that he actually has some directorial credits to his name. After playing a psychopathic evil killer in the greatest slasher of all time, Nick Castle went on to direct several comedy films such as Dennis the Menace, Major Payne, and Mr. Wrong. Wow, I guess you really can say that horror and comedy are different sides of the same coin. And speaking of different sides, let's talk about a different interpretation of the Halloween franchise. For number number 7, did you know that Rob Zombie's film actually prevented a prequel from getting made? Everyone knows about Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween, and whether you like it or not, it saved us from a film that probably would have been even more awful. That's right, before Rob approached the studio saying he wanted to do a remake of the film, they were actually planning a prequel called Halloween: The Missing Years, which would have filled in some of the gaps with Michael in the asylum with Dr. Loomis. And thank God Rob Zombie saved us from a film that would have ruined Michael's mysterious backstory with his film. That also ruins Michael's mysterious backstory. Oh well, I guess you win some and you lose some. For number 6, let's talk about Halloween 6 and specifically how it got its name. The subtitle is The Curse of Michael Myers, and it's no accident. Not only does it share the same sequel titling sequence as the Pink Panther films, but it was called Curse due to the unlucky and troubled nature of the production. And you could tell it was a complete mess behind the scenes because it's a complete mess on the screen as well. After this, most of the sequel storylines were completely scrapped and Jamie Lee Curtis made her triumphant return. But did you know when they were shooting the first film, Jamie Lee Curtis didn't even think she was gonna make it through the entire production? For number 5, let's talk about how Jamie Lee Curtis thought she was gonna get fired. Apparently after the first day of shooting the original film, Jamie Lee Curtis thought that she did terrible. It was her first movie, so I can understand her getting nervous and not having much confidence in herself. So she was just disappointed and was sitting at home depressed when John Carpenter called her on the phone, and she immediately thought that she was about to get fired. It was quite the opposite, however, as Johnny told her that she did an amazing job and was very happy with her performance. So that was certainly a sigh of relief, and she went on to have a very successful career. And with her help, Halloween became a very successful film. Up next, did you know that it was the highest grossing indie film for over 20 years? Made on a shoestring budget, Halloween went on to make a shitload of money. So much that it was the highest grossing indie film of all time. It held this title up until 1999 when it was dethroned by the Blair Witch Project. Although it didn't remain the most profitable indie film of all time, it's certainly the best. And it's great to watch any night of the week. Speaking of which, up next, did you know that it took place on a Tuesday? Yep, October 31st, 1978 was a Tuesday night. Strange that all these kids and teenagers are staying up late, drinking beer, and having sex. Don't they know that they have school the next day? I guess that really doesn't matter though, because it seems like the filmmakers weren't really paying attention in school, specifically in math class. For number 2, Michael's age just doesn't add up. So the original Halloween film opens in 1963, where we see Michael Myers at age 6 being arrested for his first murders. Then we jump to 1978, which would have made Michael the crisp and tender age of 21. But if we look in the film's credits, the actor who plays Michael in the brief unmasking scene is credited as Michael, age 23. So yeah, this math just doesn't add up. Perhaps the filmmakers should have paid as much attention in math class as they did in chemistry. Alright, strap yourselves in because this one's a doozy. Halloween H2O is the 20th anniversary of the first Halloween film, so it has the H for Halloween and the 20 for 20 years. Thus making the film H2O the chemical symbol for water. Even though the film doesn't take place on a cruise ship like it should have if you were gonna call it that. But H2O's elemental pH levels if it's 100% pure is 7.0. And Halloween H2O happens to be the 7th film in the franchise. Damn, so either the filmmakers are really good chemists or that's one hell of a coincidence. But either way, I think my brain is officially melted. But one thing that I know for sure is that the Halloween franchise will always be the best slasher series ever made. Well, that is about all for this time, guys. If you know any facts about the Halloween franchise that I may have missed out, let me know down in the comment section below. Again, there are thousands of them out there, so I would like to revisit this subject at a later date. And let me know if you enjoyed this more fast-paced way of doing 15 phenomenal facts, or if you enjoy the longer, more in-depth episodes. Either way, you're gonna get one more of each before the month is over. So with that said, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you know when new episodes of the House of Horror come out. And if you were to give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend, it would be greatly appreciated. That's it for this time, guys. I'll see you back here next week for another episode of 15 Phenomenal Facts, and back here again tomorrow for another episode of the House of Horror. Take care and stay spooky.